I'm going to be discussing something called Mahadasas or dashas in Vedic astrology. What happens is at any one time, one planet is in complete charge of your life or the area of life that is representing in your chart. And even though you'll have like sub periods that activates other houses, but the main theme of your life will be that particular thing. So, for example, if you are in your ninth lord's Mahadasha or Dasha, that the focus will be very much about like higher education, further education at that point, or things to do with the ninth house. And even though you might be looking to start a job or something like that, but if the connection is not there, it'd be very difficult to activate it. So, but obviously your sub periods will help with that as well. Or for example, or when you are also, if you are going through a period which activates your seventh house, you're more likely then to actually have marriage and relationships will happen for you. Fifth house will be probably education again, or it could be children. So these are very important things to do with Vedic astrology, and this is another reason why I really liked Vedic astrology, because that's why I opted to do Vedic astrology and not the Western astrology, because I'm not saying that Western astrology doesn't work, but it didn't work for me on certain level, because it wasn't really pinpointing things in my life. And I know they use progressions and everything, but for me, Mahadashas makes so much sense. Now, the confusing thing about Vedic astrology is that there are so many different dashas, so many. But normally when I do a reading, I look at 5, but I look at 2 particularly. Everybody would say universally, Vimshottari dasha, it is really good and it really works. It works on most charts and gives a fantastic result. It's really accurate, particularly if you use the system called Navatara, which is using the nakshatras to predict as well. That's what I use. So I don't use Vimshottari dasha necessarily just to do with planetary period, but I also use it to see from the nakshatras, and that is so accurate. Oh my goodness, it is amazing. So I use that, and I also use Yogini dasha as well, which I find that's pretty good at pinpointing times as well. And then I also use, because these are all planetary, but there are also sign-based ones as well, like Chara and Navamsha, and all different types of dashas as well. So I always do that because you just want to make sure that there is confluence between what you're seeing in one dasha and another one. So if more than 2 pinpoint at relationships, then you know that relationship is definitely the theme for that person. So that's what dashas are. Dashas all about planetary period, to see what planet is literally the theme for your life at that point. And obviously they have a particular type of what you might call like number of years, like you know that like Venus is always going to be a 20-year period, and within that there'll be sub-periods of different planets and sub-periods of those again. So that will be the theme. So and then you know that, like, for example, like Jupiter is always 16, Rahu is always 16 years. So, and obviously people worry because if that planet is badly placed for them in their chart, it could be difficult as well. So, but what you can do by having readings and preparing for it, you can then sort of like make wiser decisions during that time. So to make sure that you get the best out of it as well, because trust me, I had the most difficult time with in my Mars Dasha. Oh wow, it was just awful. But had I gone into it with a little bit more preparation, I would have got my finances together a bit more. I would have not overreacted like I did. And so I went into it from a very prosperous time into that, which actually completely changed my life, like 360 degrees, really completely changed it. And that just meant that I was not literally, I wasn't prepared for it. So yeah, so that's why it helps. So having readings and making decisions according. So if you know there's a time coming that's going to be challenging, you prepare for it, and even during difficult times, if your subdashas are prosperous ones from planets that are quite strong in your chart, then the energy is not always bad. It kind of balances itself out. So this is another reason why I love Vedic astrology, and it really gives you an insight into the theme in your life at that point. So, like I knew like 3.5 years ago that I was coming to a period I was going to move. No matter what happened, even if I didn't want to, I just literally woke up one day thinking, I want to move. I'm not happy where I am. But I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't really happy either. So, and the move just made such a massive difference. Okay, I'm in a pokey little place, but I love it. It's just exactly in alignment with what I want. So that's it. So that's Mahadasas, so planetary periods where things get activated. And obviously, if you know, like for example, your 10th house, your career is coming up, you can do some background work on it, so you can actually go into that period making the most of the fruits of those planets and those houses. If it's relationships, and you can actually just like really invest in what you want in that relationship, so you go into it knowing that you're going to make it happen for you the way that you want it, nicely informed. I thought I'd just add a little bit more to this video. I realised that when I went through the video, I realised I said for in Vimshottari Dasha that Rahu period is 16 years, it's actually 18 years. But I just wanted to just touch on these things. So in Vimshottari, which is like obviously the most important of all dashas for me anyway, and I use, like as I said, I use Yogini, Narayana, and Vimshottari, and I use a few Chara and Kalachakra. But the ones with Vimshottari, it's amazing because like every planet is allocated a certain number of years. So K2 is always going to be 7 years, Venus 20 years, Sun is always 6, Moon 10, Mars is 7 years, and then Rahu is 18, Jupiter is 16, Saturn is 19, and Mercury is 17 years. And they always go in that order as well. So the sub-periods will be the same as well. They always go in that order as well. And also realizing, even if you're going through a planet's time where it's badly placed in your chart or debilitated, the sub-periods of a stronger planet or neutral planet, or it kind of balances it out a little bit. So I don't want you to get worried about anything like that. And one of the most interesting thing is that if you ever go through a Venus period, Venus is obviously the significator of love and relationships and marriage. So you're very likely, even if your Venus is really difficult in your chart, you will still come across many relationship chances. And if you go through Ketu period, you are likely that you'll finish and cut something out of your life. And like a Sun period, so Sun is all about independence. And so if you have 3 children born, 3 siblings, and one of them goes into their Sun period, even if that is the youngest or the middle child in the family, if they go through their Sun periods quite early in their life, they will be the most independent, confident, and sort of like focused person amongst the siblings, because that's what Sun represents as well. Just naturally, as that significator of the soul, they know what they want, kind of thing. much more, you know, on their own feet, so sort of thing. Like if you go through like the 10 years of moon, you're more likely to just kind of want to do things in the home, want to get like happiness and secure, feel secure. You might even buy a home during that time. And then Mars will be like, makes you much more sort of like energetic about getting things done, braver. Rahu actually, despite the fact that it's quite, I mean, a lot of people really dread Rahu because obviously it's a malefic planet, but it does actually give you all the material things that you want, and that's the norm. Normally, once you come out of the Rahu period, you probably find that you've gone through everything. You're not really, you become more spiritual because you just have, probably the focus has been so much on having. You just fed up with having, you just want to just get on with a peaceful life. And obviously Jupiter can bring children because it's a significator of that, and also significator of higher education, further education as well, pilgrimage, religion. Saturn will kind of give you a really stable foundation, makes you really work hard. And Mercury will be like education, friends, hobbies, and just applying yourself. You know, because obviously it's your thinking process. You just want to apply yourself a bit more. So this is literally what can happen in a dasha. Anyway, I hope this helps, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching and supporting me. Thank you.